Hi ladies! Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about my baby scans, and I've been pregnant 4 times and I have 2 children, so I've had so many scans and not the best experience actually, to be honest. I've had some really horrible experiences, so if you've had some horrible experiences as well, please leave them in the comments below. Basically what happened was when I was 19 I got pregnant with Harry, and it was like quite a shock, you know, I was quite young, and so we went for the first scan, but we weren't quite sure like how far along I was. So I walk into the room, I'm really nervous and really excited, and she goes, how many weeks do you think you are? And I said, oh, I think about 8 weeks. She's like, 8 weeks? And I'm like, I think so. And she's like, well, there's no point at all in doing the scan. And I was like, oh, like, I've been waiting. Like, you know, you count down your days to your scan. You're like, oh, I'm so excited. And she was like, oh, there's no point at all. And I was like, oh. And she treated me horribly. And then she goes, okay, actually, you're 10 weeks along, because she scanned me. And she measured the baby. And she says, yeah, you're 10 weeks along. You need to come back in 2 weeks. Anyway, so I booked in and drove home, and I was so upset. I was mortified that she'd spoken to me like that. And like, it's meant to be like a really special moment, like your first baby, first scan, and I was just treated absolutely horribly. So I messaged a friend, and she said, oh, there's a private place that you can go to. You have to pay like 60 quid. And I said, I don't care. I want a nice experience. So I went like literally 4 days later with Matt, and I've got loads and loads of photos and loads of videos and everything. You can see him like drinking the water and hiccuping. I'll insert all the footage right here. Amazing to see him like moving around and kicking his legs and like rolling over, and he was literally like that big, so it was just amazing. Anyway, so then I had my 12-week scan with the NHS, and then everything was fine with that. Then I had my 20-week scan, and then we paid private again to go and have like a 3D, 4D type scan. It was amazing. After that, that was it. Like we didn't have any more scans until he was born, so it was really strange. Then I got pregnant for the second time, and he was about, I think he was about 2.5, nearly 3. It took about 9 months to conceive our second baby, and unfortunately we did have a miscarriage, so I didn't actually end up having any scans for that pregnancy. 8 months later, I then get pregnant for the third time, and because I was quite worried about like the last miscarriage, I decided to pay private and go again. And it just so happened that it was kind of on Christmas Eve, so it was like the worst timing ever. But I thought, you know, it'd be really nice, it'd be really nice. And then what I'd stupidly done is I hadn't told anyone, but I'd like, in all the Christmas cards that I'd written and posted like a week before, I'd said like, to whoever, love from Corin, Matt, Harry, and Bump, which was so stupid. I don't know why I did that. I don't recommend doing that if that's how you're going to tell people. Because then, of course, we ended up having to untell everyone, and it was just a complete mess. So basically, we went into the scan, and I was really nervous, and I was sick as a dog. If you remember the vlogging I did before, I looked like crap, and it was just awful, and I couldn't even get my head off the pillow. I felt so sick. I couldn't even like chew food or like drink water. It was ridiculous. I was sick all the time. And anyway, we went into the scan, and I was about 10 weeks along, and she put the wand on my stomach, and she goes, so how many weeks are you? And I said, oh, I'm 10 weeks, yeah. And then she's like, right, okay. And then she moves the wand over a bit more, and I'm like, where's the baby? She's like, yeah, I'm just finding it. And I was like, oh my God, this isn't going very well, is it? What's going on? And she goes, so how many weeks are you? And I said, I'm 10 weeks. Why do you keep asking me? She's like, because you're not measuring 10 weeks. And I was like, oh, maybe I've just got my dates wrong. And she goes, no. She said, go for a wee and come back. And I was like, oh my God. So went for a wee, came back. She said, I need to use this. It's like an internal probe thing, and it's got a camera at the end of it. I was like, okay. So I like stripped my bottoms off, and she put like some paper toweling over me, inserted this probe thing, and she goes, okay, the baby's got no heartbeat and it's only measuring 6 weeks. and I just went numb. There was just no emotion. There was no crying. There was no nothing. There was no emotion. I just was like, oh. And I'd been through so much with this pregnancy because I was so sick. They had to sign me off work. I was so ill. And to go through all of that and then find out that actually the baby's heartbeat wasn't there. They couldn't find anything. And there was also a lot of blood on the inside of my womb, and you could see that from the photo. I have actually got a photo, and I'm going to insert it right here. I don't think I ever got over that miscarriage, really. I don't think I ever mourned or cried or got upset or anything. I cried with my first miscarriage, but I didn't cry with my second one. I don't know why. I think because it was kind of more in my control, because because with my first miscarriage, I started spontaneously bleeding, whereas with my second miscarriage, I'd seen the baby, and then I then got to choose what would happen next. So it's kind of more in my control, whereas the first time was kind of more out of my control. So basically what happened then was I had to ring the hospital, and they said I had to give a piece of paper to my doctors. And then they rung me and they said, we can't book you in for your D&C or however you want to do it until after the new year. And I was like, what? I am vomiting 6 times a day, if not more. Why can you not fit? And she said, Corin, it's Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. So I had to wait until the 2nd of January to go in for my D&C, and I was so ill. I remember throwing up Christmas Day, and I was so poorly. It was just the worst time of my life ever. And I never ever want anyone to go through what I went through because it was so horrible. Anyway, so fast forward, they got me in just before Christmas to have a kind of pre-assessment type thing. She said basically you can take a pill, you can go naturally and see if your body will do it itself, or you can go under general anaesthetic and have a D&C. And I said, general, put me out. I don't want to know what's happening. Just put me out and have it all over with in one day. She said, okay, that's fine. So anyway, we arranged all that for the 2nd of January, 2015, I think. Yeah, 2015. I went in, and I've got some footage actually, if you go back, of when I went in, and then I was really high on tramadol afterwards. It was really funny. But yeah, so then that happened, and then literally a month later I got pregnant with Charlie. And I was so nervous because I didn't think you could get pregnant that quickly. And I thought, oh no, when you Google everything and you're like, oh my God, this is, my womb's not quite ready. It's just had all this procedure done. Oh, I forgot to mention that I then had an infection. They left some tissues. So then I had to go back in again. They blue lighted me to my local hospital, and I then had to have another D&C. So it was such a mess. I was just so glad for January to be over. It was horrible. So then I had one cycle, and then I got pregnant with Charlie, and it was completely mad. And I've got some footage of when I found out I was pregnant. I will link it down below, so you can watch that. And oh my goodness, it was so amazing. I just couldn't believe it. But yeah, so after that, I wanted a private scan because I didn't want to wait till 12 weeks. I was still vomiting. I had really bad sickness. If you remember, go back, watch my videos, and. But yeah, I was very poorly. So basically, I went for a scan. It was around I was about 9.5 weeks. Put the wand on my stomach straight away. There he is. I said to them, turn the monitor away. I don't want to see. If there's nothing there, if the baby's died, whatever, I don't want to see. So she moved the monitor away, but Harry and Matt were there, but because there was a bed, they were kind of stood there facing it, and I was looking up at the ceiling, and she goes, yep, there we go, and I was like, there we go, what? And she turned the monitor, and he was there, and he was beautiful, this tiny little baby bean, and I was like, oh my God. It's just the happiest. I couldn't wait to tell you guys on YouTube because I was like, oh my God, I was so excited. After that, I knew I wanted a 4D scan, so I went to just my regular 12-week scan. Then I had my regular 20-week scan. We found out he was a boy. The 4D scan, and he was being a bit naughty, but in the end we managed to get some good pictures and some good footage, and it was just an amazing experience. It was quite expensive. I think it was like 160 quid. When I had Harry, I think it was about 145, so it had like gone up in price in 5 years since we'd had him, but it was completely worth the money. If you know you ever want to, you know, have amazing kind of like bonding experience with your baby, then I completely say do it, because you can't then go back. I mean, if you guys don't want to spend out the money, obviously that's fine, but for me it was priceless. It was just absolutely amazing. Like after 28 weeks, I then didn't see him again until I had him. So it's really strange though how the NHS, they give you 2 scans, one at 12 weeks and one at 20 weeks, and that's literally it. Last half of your pregnancy you have to go completely without like anything, any scans, so it's a bit bizarre, but anyway, that's just the way it works here. So but yeah, so I hope you enjoyed my video and all the footage. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Don't forget to subscribe, it is free. Please leave your comments down below because I love reading all your comments, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye ladies!